one-of-a-kind programmable integrated taillight manufactured by TST Industries gives a whole new meaning to Ducati style. The geometry of the taillight was designed for a seamless OEM fit. The OEM plugs allow for a plug-and-play installation, and the program controller is easily accessed on the back of the taillight enclosure. The unique light engine is comprised of 104 high-intensity LEDs, a reflector amplifier, and a logic controller. Proprietary optics produce a sharp halo effect in the running light and signal mode, and deliver a blast of light through the hexadomes in brake mode. The exceptional lens design, paired with a custom light engine, mimics the duct features of the tail fairing. In this video, we will show you how to install and configure this tail light on your Ducati.
Begin by removing the passenger seat. Then, unscrew and remove the driver's seat. You can leave the seat screws captive in the driver's seat. This will make reinstallation much easier. Begin the tail section removal by unscrewing these 4 fasteners. Now remove the 2 fasteners in the forward part of the tail section and the fastener holding the side panels onto the tank. Remove the 2 fasteners from the forward part of the side panel. Remove the 2 fasteners in the rear outer portion of the side panel. Now remove the last side panel fastener located under the tail. Gently flex and manipulate the side panel and the tail fairing, and withdraw the rear part of the side panel out of the tail fairing. Rotate the side panel by bringing the forward part up and the rear part down, and remove it by pulling it towards the front of the bike. Repeat the same steps for the other side. Now you will need to disconnect the 3 conductor data port plug under the driver's seat. Unlock the tail fairing from the undertail by sliding it forward to clear these tabs from their accepting geometry. Disconnect the tail light plug. Lift up on the fairing and work the 3 conductor plug and wire you disconnected in a previous step out of its routing guides. You can now remove the tail fairing and put it to the side. Remove the 3 fasteners from the inner fender cover. Remove the fender cover and find the fender lighting plugs. Unplug the 2 signal plugs and the license plate light plug. You may need to use a flathead screwdriver to unlock the license plate light plug. Now unscrew the 2 screws that hold the fender to the subframe. Clear the plugs and remove the lighting equipment wires from the fender. Carefully route the wires to the top of the bike. Now you will need to assemble the flash controller harness onto the TST flash controller. Using the provided cable tie, mount the flash controller onto the subframe in this location. Connect the harness signal plugs to the flash controller. The harness plug containing the white wire with the black trace will plug into the green wire on the flash controller. Connect the harness signal plug containing the white wire with the green trace to the brown wire on the flash controller. Tuck the harness into the crease between the undertail and the subframe. It will now be necessary to remove the taillight from the tail section. Working from the bottom, first remove the seat lock. Now unscrew the taillight from the fairing. You will need to be very careful in the removal of the taillight. Manipulate the taillight out of the fairing while gently flexing the fairing to release the taillight. Make sure the taillight clears the seat lock locking tab. Remove the shoulder washers from the rubber grommets located in the taillight mounts. Now remove the grommets. Reassemble the grommets onto the TST taillight. Make sure the grommets are seated properly into the taillight mounts. You can spin them around to make sure they are properly squared with their accepting holes. Working from the bottom of the taillight, insert the shoulder washers into the grommets. Observe the proper orientation for the taillight reassembly and reassemble the taillight into the fairing. Once again, you will need to manipulate the taillight and flex the fairing, but take special care not to overflex the fairing. You will also need to be careful while clearing the seat lock locking tab. Reinstall the tail light screws. Now reinstall the seat lock into its captive geometry on the fairing. You can now place your tail section on the subframe and plug in the taillight. Plug in the taillight's main 3-conductor plug as well as the signal plugs following the color-coded wires, green to green and brown to brown. Test all of the functions of the taillight to make sure everything is connected properly. You can now program your light using the program selector located on the backside of the taillight. Now, thread the remaining wires on the tail section through their routing guides. Reconnect the data port plug. Make sure that all of the wires are tucked in and routed properly. Failure to do so may result in damage to your wires when the fairing is set back into place. It is extremely important that you protect all wires from being clamped or pinched when assembling the fairing back onto the subframe and undertail. Align the undertail tabs with their accepting geometry on the tail section. Insert the tabs into the tail on both sides and then slide the tail towards the rear of the bike to lock it into place. Reassemble the remaining body components in the reverse order of disassembly, as shown. During reassembly, all of the fasteners should only be finger tightened. You can tighten them completely in the final step after all fasteners have been threaded in. Be careful when flexing and manipulating the rear part of the side panels. The 3 rear screws on each side panel fasten into rubber well nuts. Exercise care not to over-tighten these screws. This installation is complete and you are ready to ride.